one of the things that jumped out at me right away was that you guys had a quote by Dave Snake Sabo on the site, because when I started talking the band up to people with regards to Shockwave and started posting your videos on my Patreon, I was saying, well, they kind of remind me of Skid Row, but at the same time, you have a song like The Saucer, which kind of throws a wrench in that, because
Yeah,
more of like a stoner rock type thing. So,
yeah,
when you guys write, is there a conscious effort to write a certain way, or just whatever comes out, comes out?
yeah. Whatever comes out, comes out. So yeah, that's why there's a big difference in between songs and that sort of stuff. Is because Sean and I will predominantly write the riffs and that sort of stuff, and we've got a different angle of attacking the way we do things. So yeah, you can have a song like Sorcerer come up, and then yeah, totally throw a wrench at it because that was a Sean's ideas and riffs that were uh, heavily dominant, and then there'll be other songs where someone else will take the lead in the riff writing. So yeah,
Cool. Okay. And Shockwave, correct me if I'm wrong, is album number 4 by the band?
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Was there anything specific that you wanted to do on this album that you hadn't done with the previous albums?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, every band wants to improve, right, on their previous albums. So
Right.
we wanted to definitely have a more polished sound, and we wanted to because we had the new we had Steve O as a new singer, and that it definitely, yeah, that was always going to be the whole sound change, regardless. So yeah.
Okay. Um, and I was gonna bring that up, the change to Steve Welsh, who's best known for, previous to the band, is doing covers on YouTube. Um, who approached who to join the band?
Well, we found out about Steve O's work on YouTube through a friend of ours, and so we reached out to Steve O first. So um, Sean and myself reached out to him, and then we just got a meeting lined up, and we said, you want to meet us, and we'll just meet at a pub or something and have a chat, and that's how it worked out. So we reached out to him, and he agreed to meet up with us and have a chat about it.
Okay. And what was the most appealing thing about him with regards to bringing him into the band? I'm assuming, obviously, the diversity of what he can do with his voice, but also with meeting up with him. Did you want to make sure that, hey, if we go out on the road, this guy has to fit? We don't want to be kicking him out of the van, 10 minutes
Yeah,
we get in.
well, yeah, that's right. I mean, we saw that the advantage was he lived in the same city as us. So he lived in Melbourne, and we saw his work, and we're like, geez, that's like a godsend, if it works out. So yeah, we had to sort of try and fit to, like, because Steve's a really nice guy, right? So, but yeah, we've also got to fit what he wanted to do on the road as well. So it's got to work two ways because we all need each other, and so whether that us sort of pulling back on the partying or whatever we had to do, because at the end of the day, you're still out there on the road running a business, and everyone's got to work together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When you first found out about that, he was in Melbourne and everything else, did you start to think, wow, we could have him sing this type of a song? We could do this other thing that maybe we haven't done before because we've got a vocalist now who can do all these different styles.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first thing we sort of said to him and tried to get him to gauge was, you got to sound like you. So whatever that is, and we know there's a lot of pressure on for sort of, because you can cover almost anything, but who is Steve Welsh? What does he sound like? This is
Yeah.
your blank canvas to sort of really go in whatever direction you want to go in. And we didn't expect we just expected anything, you know. We were like, he could just totally be like, you know, I really want to sound like Lane Staley, or I really want to sound like Ronnie James Dio. But no, he did his own thing. So, and he's got his own sound, you know, and
Right.
so it's really good to see that he really made an effort to go out there and find out who he sounded like, you know.
Right. And that's interesting because I remember hearing a very prominent figure on the radio years ago say, when all of these idol type shows started coming up, he said, you know, as impressive as it is to sound like somebody else, it's harder to find your own voice than it is to sound like somebody else. So that was one of the things that I was going to ask, was it hard to kind of get him to do his thing in the studio, as opposed to, again, as you said, try to be Dio, try to be Lane Staley, or stuff like that?
That's right. Yeah, he worked it out himself, man. Like we just said, look, here are some tracks, here are some riffs, here's some bass, here's some drums, here's the idea for the song. You know, you just run it and run it and run it until you find out how you want to sing it, and then give it back to us, and if we've got any input, we'll give it to you. But if we're saying nothing, you're on the right direction, you know.
Right. Okay. And as far as, you know, I talked about incorporating Steve into the band. What about from you as a guitarist? Did you want to approach this album differently from a playing standpoint? Maybe try different gear in the studio, or was there anything that, you know, you set out to do personally?
Yeah, well, there were some songs and some riffs that had been floating around that our old singer couldn't run with on previous albums, so we wanted to throw that back at Steve-O. So yeah, and there were songs and ideas that we really liked as a band. So yeah, we wanted to give them another run, really push it, and see what Steve-O could come up with. So that was one thing that I would say that hadn't changed.
Mhm.
And another thing that we um, we wanted to do was work with Freeman Machine, which we'd been in contact since 2015 with. So yeah, and so we wanted to keep all that. And yeah, as far as like the way that we write, and you know, we just wanted to work harder. So with Steve-O, you know, new blood in the band, it means, you know, you get another leg up, you know, you get more wind, and you want to start working harder and taking it a little bit more professional. So that was the difference, I would say, from the previous albums. Or
Okay.
we just strived to perfect whatever we were trying to do a bit
Right.
harder.
Okay, that makes sense. And what do you feel that Machine brings to the table that other producers haven't brought to the table in the past?
Yeah, Machine is, you know, that name says it all. Like, you know, he's he's the hardest working producer we'd ever worked with, that's for sure.
Okay.
Like, he's the guy that he's up at 8 in the morning, he wants to be in the studio by 9, and he won't leave till 11 at night, you know, like. And and there wasn't a day where it was like, you know, he would never say, can we take a day off? He was
Mhm.
7, like, even pre-production, man, he was 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week.
Wow.
So and he would be constantly pushing us, constantly throwing around ideas, and constantly trying to look for any inch that he could take a bit further, you know, like, or if something could be improved, he was just continually looking for it. So that's what I would say about him to other producers that we've worked before, where maybe we weren't. And you know, that maybe they're trying to discover what we sounded like or whatever. I think maybe it was a little bit more easy for Machine, because there was more, you know, there was more tracks and stuff that we'd recorded previously, so he could maybe
Right.
understand the band a bit better. So yeah, sort of like that, you know. He's a very hands-on guy, and that was what we liked.
Okay. And you recorded with him? He was there in Australia with you guys, or was that long distance?
No, he was in Australia with us.
Oh, okay. What do you think is the biggest advantage of being a band from Australia, and what do you think is the biggest disadvantage of being a band from Australia?
Okay, so I'll start with the disadvantage is definitely if you got a tour or whatever. I mean, the flights. So they're
Right.
expensive, they're long, and yeah, you got to cut all your gear, and your home base isn't like if we get a long tour in Germany or Europe or whatever's happening.
Right.
Yeah, we got to cart it all over and figure all that out. So, um, but the advantage is that people are usually pretty excited to see a band from Australia coming from another country. So it has its perks, but um, yeah, I would say that it's sort of a we just we've got a bit of a different personality and that sort of stuff to what most people usually see.
Right. Well, the other thing too, I remember speaking to the guys from Airborne years ago, and the first thing that they instantly got was, the comparisons to AC/DC, for example. For you guys, I mean, obviously a hard rock band. You don't sound like Airborne or AC/DC, although within the same realm of music per se. Do you get, oh, you guys are an Australian band, you sound like AC/DC just because you're from Australia, or people that
Yeah, that does happen. People always say that. People are always gonna relate rock and roll to an Australian band as AC/DC. So I
right,
mean, it's a good thing. I think. I mean, um, and there's definitely. I think there's always going to be an element of AC/DC in a true Australian rock and roll band.
right. Okay. Well, I think you could possibly say that for bands from almost anywhere in the world, but more
So
so from
yeah, totally.
Australia.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
How does your recording gear change from or how does it vary from your touring gear?
Yeah. So when we record, we try and stick to the basics, which is Marshalls. Like as a guitarist, Marshalls and Les Pauls, right? But then we might bring in six Marshalls, um, and then test them all. So
Right.
yeah, for me, we like to, but then we'd have bring in different amps like an Orange or a Soldano or a Mesa Boogie or something like that, just to make sure it's there in case we need it.
Right.
Yeah, and then our live gear is always Marshalls. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. There's
Interesting.
no real difference.
Yeah. Second interview I've done today where six Marshalls were brought into the studio to record an album. So
Oh wow, there you
yeah,
go.
what a coincidence.
Yeah, it's the going thing.
There you go.
Secret.
What's the one place that you guys haven't played that you'd love to play?
Oh, where haven't we? I mean, hey, we haven't done the States yet. We haven't done the United States, and we'd love to go over and do that. That would be incredible.
Okay, cool. And what does touring look like behind Shockwave? Do you guys have something planned out for touring behind the album?
Yeah, we're coming over to Germany in March. We're going to do some radio stuff, which I can't really say yet. And
Okay.
the guys are working on a tour around that, which hasn't all been confirmed yet. But it's all it's in the working progress as we speak.
Okay. Cool. And if you had the possibility of opening up for any band on a tour, what band would that be?
Oh, I'd have to say, Metallica would be, you know, that'd be the feather in the cap. You
Okay.
know, we did Kiss not long ago, So that was a feather in the cap, but I think Metallica.
Sure. No one bigger than them, that's for sure.
Nope.
Not in hard rock or metal, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Where would you like people to go to pick up Shockwave to ensure that you guys get the most amount of money out of the sale?
So that would be from our record label's website for anyone in Europe, which would be it's AFM. So it's afm.com. So that's the best way to just get it sent straight to you. They've got plenty of stock, and it takes the headache out of me trying to remember which record shops they are.
Right. You guys do have some cool vinyls. I saw some clear vinyl, some red vinyl. How much do you guys get involved in that whole process?
Oh, that's us. You know, we'd work out what color, like, you know, what 2 colors we're gonna do, like a limited release run, and then the original and the normal one. So yeah, we have control over that. We decide the colors and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, cool.
Artwork and yeah.
That's awesome. So with the artwork, you guys actually worked with what, the label or an artist that you guys brought in to get the artwork down?
Yeah, that's right. We worked with I think we were in contact with the he was brought to our attention by our manager, the guy that does Rammstein's artwork.
Okay.
And yeah, he helped us, you know, work all that, and yeah, he designed all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the cover's really cool. If you really look at it, I think every time you check it out, you see something different. You know, from the jacks is like the fangs, or even going, through the eyes or anything like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. It was we worked on it for a while, and then we sort of bit the bullet in the final stages. Yeah.
Cool. Where should people go to keep up with the band?
Anywhere on social media, our Facebook or Instagram page. That's the best way to sort of keep up to date on our day-to-day stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your morning to chat with us about Shockwave and about the band, about Dead City Ruins. Much luck the rest of the year and your upcoming tour next year.
Excellent. Thanks so much, man.
All right. Thank you, Tommy.
See you later, Victor. Bye.
Thank you for watching the Signals from Mars live stream. You can watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, or check out replays on YouTube. Go to signalsfrommars.com for more information. This concludes our show.